What's going on today? We are going to try and do another really quick review. So this should be a fairly quick, very straight to the point video. We're taking a look at the Waves RBass. This plugin's been out for a while, but it's still one of my favorite plugins. I love to use it on bass, obviously, toms, sometimes kick, anything where I really want the low end presence to be apparent, anywhere I need it to drive and push out, and the RBass is the great way to bring it about. So just looking at it right here, you have obviously the original bass level showing to you on the left, the intensity and the gain after the fact. Here at the bottom you have the frequency selector. You can use this essentially to choose the frequency that you are going to be focusing on. The RBass basically acts as a saturator that really brings out the frequency that you have selected there at the bottom. It may actually be more of a compressor, but it almost sounds like a saturator to me. You can go all the way down to 32 Hertz and all the way up to 256 Hertz. Like I said, it's a very simple plugin. There's those 4 or 5 pieces here. Up on the top left, you have skin, so you could always go with dark mode or legacy mode. This is the old version of the plugin, I think, from when it originally was released. I normally just leave it in light or dark mode. You do have presets over here. You can go through artists. You have quite a few people to choose from. As you can see, most people are doing something with a bass. You see Ross Hogarth, bass 1, 2, 3. But here you can see things like snare or percussion. This one's really interesting from Scott Gershon. You have different gun sound effects. So this is a really cool plugin that you could use on Foley or anything like that if you're in the business of working on short films or any sort of film, honestly. Again, up here you see toms, 808s. There are some presets that are straight from Waves itself rather than going through any artists or other people that they like to work with. But just for a taste, we're going to take a look at what it sounds like on a bass with 1 or 2 of the presets, and then we'll take a look at toms and maybe even the kick. And just for reference, let's go ahead and throw it in bypass, and you can hear what it sounds like without the RBass on. Kind of weak, nothing crazy. The RBass definitely adds some attitude and some grit to the bass itself. You could always throw some additional saturator on there, or even just overdrive or fuzz really to give it some edge. But now let's take that and let's throw that on our floor tom. I did have a saturator on this before, but I'm actually going to turn that off. And let's throw that, let's actually open up and find that tom preset that we saw earlier. There we go, toms. And throw that in bypass. Again, just like we noticed with the bass, it gave it a lot of attitude, a lot of punch with it. So it really does bring out the low frequencies without you getting an overwhelming kind of like sub resonance with it. Let's go ahead and move this over to the kick. Now there were 2 kick mics, but I'm going to use it on the channel that was for the B52. So all that's running on that is an EQ and a compressor. Let's see if we can find a kick preset real quick. Oh, here we go. Kick drum seriousness. Let's see what this guy has to offer. Let's hear it with it off. Honestly, on the kick, I don't know if it's really worth it with what I'm doing here. I'd say if you have a smaller kick drum, it would be better. But for what I was recording, he had a pretty large kick drum, like pretty standard size, fairly deep. So it had a nice low end presence and representation. So I don't know if it was necessarily needed for this one, but I could definitely see the RBass being important on some kick recordings and drum recordings. Hopefully you guys found this interesting and helpful. Maybe it helped you decide whether or not you want to get the RBass for yourself in the future. I know it's in a lot of packages that Waves offers for its plugins. I believe that's actually how I got mine. Was getting it in the diamond package or something a couple years ago on Black Friday. But it's definitely worth the buy, even if you got the entire Renaissance collection, the R Comp, the REQ, R Channel, RBass. All of them are amazing. All of the Renaissance package is incredible. I love all of those plugins and like to use them regularly. But thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every view, like, comment, whatever it is. If you guys have any questions or suggestions as to what plugins I could look at next, or if you have any questions about the RBass itself, leave a comment down below. I'd love to read it and get back to you as soon as I can. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot in the algorithm in the whole YouTube world. But thank you guys so much for watching, and until next Tuesday.